3 minutes ago, things aren't looking good for Celine Dion. The headline flashes across screens worldwide, another ripple in a sea of speculation about the woman whose voice defined a generation. For decades, she stood on the world's biggest stages, 5 continents, 93 cities, millions of voices singing back every word. But now, the voice that seemed invincible has gone silent. The woman who once said, "All I know is singing," finds herself unable to do the one thing that made her who she is. As rumors swirl about wheelchairs, cancer, and the worst, the truth is far more complex and far more terrifying. This is a story about what happens when the very thing that defines you is taken away, and about the fight to get it back. The lights of Las Vegas dimmed, but Celine Dion's world had already begun to darken. The year is 2021. In her sprawling Nevada estate, the queen of power ballads is alone, surrounded by the silence of a career that has suddenly stalled. The Las Vegas residency, the one that was supposed to cement her legacy for a new generation, has been postponed. 21 performances canceled. The statement from her team talks about severe and persistent muscle spasms, clinical words that do nothing to capture the terror of what is happening inside her body. She tells the cameras, "I'm heartbroken by this." But heartbreak is only the beginning of what she will feel. The symptoms had been lurking for years, a shadow in the wings of her extraordinary career. In 2008, during the Taking Chances tour, a brief spasm had rippled through her body. She dismissed it, a fluke, a tired muscle. But the shadow refused to leave. It grew. It strengthened. It began to make itself known at the most inconvenient times. During performances and recording sessions, in the quiet moments when she should have felt safe. For years, Dion didn't understand what was happening to her. Neither did the doctors. They gave her medications, near-lethal doses of Valium to get her through shows, sedatives to calm the mysterious spasms that would seize her voice and body without warning. She would take a pill, feel it wear off on stage, and when the spasm came, she'd point the microphone at the audience and smile. "Oh, you cut out," the gesture seemed to say. The audience sang. The illusion held. No one knew. No one could know. The weight of that secret, 17 years of holding it alone, would eventually become a burden too heavy to carry. But in 2021, the pretense is crumbling. The cancellations mount. The explanations become thinner. Her team says she is unable to successfully prepare for and perform the tour. The language is careful, evasive. But the truth is that Celine Dion's body is betraying her, and she doesn't know why. In the months that follow, the mystery deepens. She retreats from public view, her Instagram account silent. Her massive Vegas showroom, once filled with the glow of 1,000 lights and the roar of 1,000 voices, sits empty. For the first time in her professional life, she has nothing to offer but a question. What is happening to me? The answer, when it comes, will change everything. December 2022. The camera rolls, and for the first time, Celine Dion tells the world the truth. The video is simple. She sits in a black blouse, her hair pulled back, her face bare of the glamour that usually defines her. But what she says is anything but simple. "I've been diagnosed with a very rare neurological disorder called stiff person syndrome." She speaks slowly, her eyes glistening with tears. "This is what has been causing all of the spasms that I've been having." She thanks her fans. She promises to see them again. And then, when the camera stops, she slumps into her chair and wipes her eyes. The diagnosis hits her like a physical blow. Stiff person syndrome, SPS, is a 1 in a million disorder, a cruel neurological condition in which the body attacks its own nerve cells, causing progressive muscular rigidity and painful, bone-breaking spasms. It affects women more than men, typically striking between the ages of 30 and 50, and it can turn its victims into human statues, robbing them of their ability to walk, to speak, to sing. It has no cure. When the doctors tell her what she has, the unspoken question looms. What does this mean for her voice? For her career? For the very essence of who she is? In the documentary that chronicles her journey, she speaks directly to the camera, her voice trembling with the weight of that question. "I think I was very good," she says, the past tense cutting like a knife. Who is Celine Dion, she asks, when she can no longer be the singer the world expects her to be. But if the diagnosis is devastating, it is also clarifying. For years she had lied to herself, to her fans, to the world. The lie is too heavy now, she admits. She had covered up the spasms, the cancelled shows, the inescapable truth that her body was failing her. Now she resolves to do something different, to let the world in. And that is when the cameras arrive. Director Irene Taylor receives permission to follow Dion everywhere, through her house, her rehabilitation sessions, even into the moments when the pain is unbearable. "Do not ask if you can come into a room," Dion tells her. Do not ask me if you can talk to me about something. Just do it. It is a radical commitment to transparency, a refusal to continue hiding. And it will lead to some of the most painful and powerful images ever captured in a documentary. The spasms begin slowly the way they always do. A tightening in her foot, a stiffness that starts small and then radiates outward. By the time the camera crew realizes what is happening, it is too late. Her body is locking up, turning rigid, unyielding. Tears stream down her face as her medical team rushes to her side. They position her on her side, coax her to breathe, wait for the episode to pass. It takes 40 minutes. This is the image that will define the documentary, the world's most famous voice, silenced and immobilized by a disease that has made her body a prison. The cinematographer, Nick Midwig, remembers the moment with visceral clarity. We both stood back and assessed like, are we in the way? He says. They were not in the way. They could not help. They were witnesses to a reality that no one, not even Celine Dion herself, could control. In the final film, those 40 minutes become minutes. But they are enough. The scene is gut-wrenching, raw, and utterly devoid of artifice. I can imagine that was probably vindicating in some way for her, Midwig says afterward. Like, this is a really serious disease. This is really inhibiting. This turned my life upside down. But what is most extraordinary, what might be the defining moment of the entire project, comes not during the spasm but after it. When the attack subsides and Dion recovers, she does something that leaves the director speechless. She puts her hand on Taylor's arm and asks, "Are you okay?" Even in the midst of her own pain, she is asking about someone else. It is a gesture so small, so profoundly human, that it cuts through the spectacle of illness and reminds us who she is. The thing about rare diseases is that they are not just physically punishing. They are psychologically isolating. For years, Dion had lived in a state of constant vigilance, monitoring her body for signs of betrayal, bracing herself for the next spasm. She had masked her pain in front of millions, taken medications that were barely sustainable, and lived with a secret that threatened to consume her. But the secret was not sustainable. In the documentary, we see her in physical therapy, working 5 days a week to rebuild muscles that have atrophied. We see her in vocal therapy, straining to hit notes that once came effortlessly. We see her exhausted, stripped of makeup, her hair in a simple bun, a far cry from the glittering star of the Vegas stage. She tells the camera, "I don't want people to hear that," after her voice cracks during an attempt at recording. The admission is devastating. She is coming to terms with the possibility that her voice may never be what it once was. The documentary makes frequent use of contrasts. Footage of the young Dion, voice as clear and strong as a bell, intercut with the present, where she struggles through simple sentences. She watches old clips of herself, and the weight of what has been lost is visible on her face. When your voice brings you joy, you're the best of yourself, she reflects. But what happens when the voice brings only frustration? What happens when joy is a memory? And yet, the documentary is not a story of defeat. It is a story of reckoning. Dion is learning to live with a body that will not cooperate, to find new ways of being herself. "I miss it so much," she says of performing. "If I can't run, I'll walk. If I can't walk, I'll crawl." The determination is fierce, almost primal. She will not give up. She cannot give up. March 2026. A video appears on Instagram. This time the news is different. "I'm getting the best birthday gift of my life," Dion says, her voice steady, her eyes shining. "I'm getting the chance to see you, to perform for you once again." The announcement shakes the entertainment world. After years of cancellations, after months of rumors, after the agony of the documentary's most harrowing scenes, Celine Dion is coming back. 10 shows in Paris. September 2026. A return to the stage that has defined her for decades. The response is immediate and overwhelming. Fans who had mourned her absence, who had watched the documentary with tears streaming down their faces, who had wondered if they would ever hear that voice again, they are ecstatic. The media coverage is breathless. Celine Dion announces her grand comeback. Social media explodes with messages of support and joy. The woman who had been given up for lost is alive again. But the comeback is not just about a series of concerts. It is about something deeper, the reclamation of her identity. For years, Dion had struggled with a question that cut to the very core of who she is. Who am I if I am not a singer? In the documentary, she had asked the question aloud, her voice breaking. Now she is beginning to answer it. In the lead-up to Paris, she appears at a rare public event in Las Vegas, wearing a stunning ethereal gown, semi-sheer, with bold side and back cutouts. It is a statement. She is still here. She is still beautiful. She is still Celine Dion. When the cameras stop rolling and the fans return home, a single truth remains. Celine Dion's voice may be fragile, but her spirit is not. The disease has not been defeated, it is incurable, progressive, and will continue to challenge her for as long as she lives. But she has chosen to live anyway. To sing anyway. To return to the stage even if it hurts. Even if she falls. The documentary director Irene Taylor hopes that viewers will understand something profound. That artists do their work not in spite of their struggles but because of them. It definitely keeps someone real, she says. And perhaps that is the greatest gift of all. A Celine Dion who is no longer perfect, who cannot hit every high note, who sometimes points the microphone at the audience because she can't sing, but who is, for the first time in her life, entirely honest about who she is. In the final scene of the documentary, Dion is asked what she wants her legacy to be. Her answer is simple: I think I was very good. It is a humble statement, almost self-deprecating. But for anyone who has watched her journey, the years of secrecy, the diagnosis, the spasms, the tears, the relentless fight, there is an unspoken subtext. She was more than good. She was magnificent. And even now, even as her body fails her, she is finding a way to be magnificent again. The concerts in Paris will be a triumph, not because she hits every note, but because she is there. Because she made it. Because she refused to let a 1-in-a-million disease write her ending. Celine Dion returns to the stage not as a victim, but as a survivor. And the voice that once defined a generation is still singing, a testament to the resilience of a woman who would not be silenced.